Hey everyone, so what I'm going to be doing today is showing a tutorial on how to set up my maps that I use in Dungeons & Dragons and how I get them set up and how I get them prepared. I'll just give you a quick preview of what the end product looks like. There are going to be some spoilers for the Lost Mines of Phandelver set for 5th edition, just a heads up. But this is basically how I have my map set up when I DM Dungeons & Dragons, and what I will do is I'll put this on my laptop or on a screen, and then I'll basically just keep this nearby and then have it shown to the party as we go through with whatever we're doing. And there's different maps for different situations. Alright, so I'll just close that. So the first thing that you're going to need is a program called GIMP. You can go to gimp.org/downloads to download a copy of it, and just get whichever one you need for whatever system you're using. It can be a little bit tricky to download sometimes depending on whether or not there's an installer there, but so you can just download that, get it installed. So this one comes with the installer and you should be good to go. Aside from that, you're also going to need some maps. You can hand draw them and scan them in, or get them off the internet. The ones where I got my maps from are from MikeSchley.zenfolio.com, and then there was just a set of maps here for the Lost Mines of Phandelver campaign already set up, and they're basically the same ones that are in the book, although they are a little bit more detailed and come with a couple different versions. They're pretty cheap, I'd recommend them. But yeah, so some type of map, doesn't really matter where you get it from or what it looks like, just something that you want to display to your party. I'm going to go ahead and cancel this just because I already have GIMP installed. I'll just give that a close. So once you have GIMP installed and once you have your maps, you can go ahead and open GIMP. It'll take a second to start up, especially if it's your first time starting it up. But once it's good to go, you can take your map. So over here I have the PDF version of one of the maps that I downloaded. So this is where the spoilers would come in. This is for chapter 1 of the Lost Mines of Phandelver set. There's going to be a map here. So if you haven't played that and you plan on playing it, you might want to wait and check this out a bit later. So you can just drag and drop it in. The nice thing about this is when it imports PDFs, it's going to show you the pages, and it's going to ask you how you want to import them. So you can just pick them all, and you want to have it open pages as layers, because what that's going to do is it'll layer the different ones on top of each other, so you can take a look at them and decide which ones you want, or if you want both, and just click import. Depending on the size of your map, this might take a while. As well, it might be affected by the speed of your computer and all that stuff. So just go ahead and wait for that. Alright, so you've got your map set up into GIMP, and as you can see here, there's the two layers. So over here is basically where it's going to show you the different layers, and you can click off these eyes to view different ones. So the two layers that this came with was just a gridded and non-gridded version. We can pretty much ignore the other version, but sometimes you'll get maps that'll have different locations on them, and it's super helpful to layer those maps on top of each other, because what you can do is while you're playing, you can put the map that doesn't have the locations over top, and then as you go you just erase the locations as your players find them. This doesn't work really good for this because I'm just erasing the gridded lines, but we want those anyways. But it works really good if you have the other setup where it's hiding locations. Now in this case, what I would do is I would make a new layer, I would click OK, and give a layer on top. And the reason why I want this is because I'm going to really quickly just paint over the entire dungeon. And what this is going to do is this will be your fog of war. for when you're playing. And how it'll work is as you go along, you can just use the eraser tool and keep on going. Just quickly finish up here. There. So that's pretty rough way to do it. Another option is to use the selection tool. Just get rid of this here. So you can take the free select or whichever one you want, and you can just drag around. Again, it doesn't have to be exact or anything. And click it off there. And then you can go to select and stroke selection. And you can set it up however you want. You can use a solid line or you can use a tool. In this case, I'll just go with the paintbrush to show what it looks like. And basically that's it. It's going to leave a couple weird dots behind, but those just get erased. You can also, once you've done that, take the selection tool, so this magic wand, click in the center, and it's basically going to select around here. The only problem is that it's going to leave a weird border if you try and fill that in with like the bucket tool, so just make it grow a little bit. Then you can take the bucket tool, fill it in, and I would even take the paintbrush and just go around once more, just to make sure that there isn't any transparent space missed. Alright, so that's how you could set up your map. You can choose to do it however you want though. The next thing that you're going to want to do for presentation is go to Edit and then Preferences. While you're under Preferences, you're going to want to go down to Appearance, and basically you want to have your preferences set up like how this is set up. All of these should be unchecked. You want to use a custom color and you want to use black, just because black looks the most professional. You could choose another color if you wanted, although I found that black tends to work the best. So get that set up and click OK. And the next thing you're going to do is you're going to want to go into full screen mode. So those preferences that you set were for full screen. So I'm just going to click F11 on Windows, and it's going to pull up into full screen. What you can do once you're here is you can use the space key to pan, or you can click down the middle mouse button. And for the most part, everything's set up now. The only difference is that you want to switch to the eraser tool. And so how it's going to work is as players are going into your dungeon, you slowly erase wherever they can see. So you can do that. You can use Control Z to undo if you need to, or Control Y to redo. And you'll just keep going depending on where they go. Head on through, and you can reveal the cavern here. You can show the stuff up here once they get up there. And this works really good because in 5th edition it's less focused on the grid and more focused, I guess, on theater of the mind style. So having this as a visual to help is really good. And then what I also do is I have a mat, which if we get into a sort of tactical intensive combat, I'll do a quick sketch of what the map looks like based off of this using the squares, and then we'll get set up like that. While you're doing this, before your players arrive, I would actually close these two windows and have it set up like this. The reason why it would be like this is so that the players can't see the layers that would be there, and it just looks more professional when you have it set up like this. Once you get used to it, it should be pretty good. If you get stuck, you can do a right click and you'll have all of your tools available there. So say for example you wanted to go back to your tools again and choose the eraser. You could do that. You'll maybe want to take a look into the keyboard shortcuts. So open brace to make it grow bigger, or open brace to make it grow smaller, and then close brace to make it grow bigger. Once you're done, you can hit F11 again to exit full screen, and you'll notice that your two windows are gone. If you want to get those back, just go up to Windows, Recently Closed Docs, and open that, do it again, and then you'll have both of your windows back. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close this. I'm not going to save it because I have my other copy ready here to go. When you are loading your maps up, only open one at a time, and this will make sense in a second. I'm just going to open up another one here. Close this. I'm going to close these two again. I'm going to go full screen with F11. I'm going to position it how I want it set up. Now when you're here, you can right click, go to Windows, and you have your two maps that you had opened over here. So you can switch between them without having to Alt Tab or do any of that stuff. The only difference is you have to open both of them full screen separately, but that works out pretty good. The reason why you had to open the map sequentially is because if you open them at the same time, they'll open up two separate instances of GIMP, and then you will only have one map show up here. Alright, so that's pretty much it. As I said, you can go through when you're playing, and it works out pretty good, and switch maps as you need to. I think I've got a really good example of how you might use the double layers here. So you can see it reveals the different locations as you need them revealed. So when the players first come into town, you'll just have like the very basic things set up, like to the trail. Maybe you'll have a couple really key places listed that you want them to just automatically know where they are. But otherwise, that's it. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. You can find me on Twitter at Corey Hickson. And yeah, thanks for watching. Let me know if you want more videos.